If you get it, you get it. The following production has been paid for by the gWo. Boom! Greetings from YouTubeville once again. Danny Savage, Draft Guru. Today we're rocking. Boom! Goon Squad. That's a shout out to the Briscoes. They used to wear shirts similar. Also, in my prior profession, that's what me and my guys were known as. We took pride in it. If you get it, you get it. Can't help you. This is, listen, I'm no genius. I'm just a regular, blue collar dude. But also, like football, this is kind of common sense, man. It's common, but it seems a lot of these guys in the NFL, common sense is not common. And that's why every single season, we see 10 coaches, 10 general managers get fired. Just because your rich daddy leaves you a team doesn't make you an expert on football. So we're going to talk a little bit about the draft, team building. How ironically the so-called professionals are saying this draft in April is very strong at defensive tackle, edge, running back, tight end, safety. Boom, Nate Dogg, thank you for jumping in the house. How ironic. All these like draft guys are saying that. I've been saying that on this channel since June. Those are the strongest positions in this year's NFL draft. But it takes guys like, Dane Brugler, Mel Kiper. It takes guys like them to say it before, like a guy like me that says it, they're like, the word, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I think I do. A lot of guys buying ketchup, bro. Trying to play catch up. I'm at 701 this Saturday, the HBCU Legacy Bowl, and I'll be an extra 30, 40 guys by next week. How many? Who's covering the Who's covering the Legacy Bowl? I like to wonder. Besides myself, let's see. All right, but how to build a team 101. Let's just say 805 Vaughn, what's up? Thank you for jumping in the chat also. Let's say hypothetical. This is going to be like a hypothetical question. Right guard. Let's just say guard is a position of need for your NFL team. Naturally, you look to the draft. All right. But now, when you look to the draft, and guard is a very it's a very below average guard class, below average offensive tackle class, a very, very below average center class. Last year, like two to three centers went in round one. I personally don't see a center, a true center, not somebody coming over from tackle guard, a true center. I don't see a true center coming off the board until late round three. It's a bad year for offensive linemen. So what you should do, free agency is upon us. So now you go out, get yourself a guard for like a 1 year deal, somebody that's going to get you to 2026. Because now in your brain going into this draft, It's deep at defensive tackle, defensive edges, running backs, tight ends, and safeties. Those are the 5 heavy positions. It's ironic. I said all summer, running back is the deepest position, and they're predicting 30 to 35 to be drafted. How ironic, man. Where did we hear that? Where? Who? Where? Wait a second. By far the best beard on YouTube. So go out in free agency and get a guard on a 1-year deal. And this draft, when it's the strength is D tackle, edge, running back, tight ends, safeties. If you have a monster edge sitting in your face at 12, are you going to skip him for a guard who maybe your number one ranked guard? Some people have him going in round 3. Other people, I mean, I think Tyler Booker is highly inflated, his numbers. I'm sorry, I do. That's just my 2 cents. I want him on. It's a crazy need. If you think about it, 805 Vaughn, and that's a great, you said you want a monster edge. It's a sneaky need. We really don't have a true edge on this team. Let's be very honest. Tank's gone, and I'm glad he's going to be gone. Unless they've, to a couple of dollars at Golston, Mike Gibb is not an edge. He's not. Neither is Abdul Carter. For everyone, picking Titans picking 1, the Browns at 3. He's not an edge. If you think Abdul Carter is an edge, watch his first 3 games of this season, this last season. He got shut down. West Virginia's Wyatt Mullen shut him down. But also West Virginia's Wyatt Mullen is giving up 0 sacks in 3 years. But Abdul Carter got shut down at edge, went back to linebacker, and bang, 10 sacks. Abdul Carter is Micah Parsons 2.0. You should be moving him around every single play like chess. So you can't chip him. And that's what happened this year when they moved him. They got a new defensive coordinator, Penn State, and he's dealing with giant tackles every play, chipping by tight ends, chipping by running backs. Where if he's at linebacker, he just has to maneuver, and he has the instincts to maneuver through traffic to get to his point, and bammo, 10 sacks. Now, it's a very strong edge class, but there's maybe about 6 or 7 edges with prototypical NFL size. And when I say prototypical NFL size, I'm talking about like the old days, the 6'6", 270s, big, giant prototype. I mean, it's crazy, man. Texas A&M has like 3 of them coming out, man. 2 in it, like they can go back and forth from edge to D tackle, and these kids just have so much talent, man. And I hope they reach it, because it's crazy, man. If God gives you all that talent and you just don't perform, man, it's really crazy. But so there's about let's say 6, 7 guys that have that height, and then the edge class falls over, but there's still crazy edges. But they're just smaller, 6'2", 6'3". That's fine with me. I'm okay with that. Because if I see the production in college, which I have, if you're 6'3", you get 30 sacks, 16 sacks, 17 sacks, you have the bend, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem. Because just because you're 6'3", that doesn't measure your heart. That doesn't measure the dog inside you, bro. I don't want a banker next to me. I want a dog next to me. I want somebody that's going to go into battle. I want a fucking nut next to me, man. What is football? Let's be honest, man. Football is controlled violence. It's kill what's in front of you, whistle. Kill what's in front of you, whistle. Kill what's in front of you, whistle. That's what the game, or that's what the game at least used to be. But as Charles Haley says, this is not the game I know. They're teaching our children to play flag football. Those were Charles Haley's words, not mine. So, like I said, the draft is strong. D tackle, edge, crazy running back draft, which I've said since June. Tight end, safeties. You might see 3 to 4 tight ends go off the board in the first round. Then it's yes and no. Because even the fifth guy, I'm not going to say him yet, but even number 5, you can take 4 and 5 and flip a quarter. You're going to see Tyler Warren, Penn State. He's going to go top 10. He's going to be in the top 10. 6'6", 260. Tight end, wide receiver, running back, center, quarterback. The kids played everything. You want to talk about a tush push 2.0? Put him at quarterback, man. Think outside the box. But what I'm getting at is, so these are the strongest positions, and that's where the talent is. So why would you, if there's like, just say the third rated now, let's say round 2 comes up, and the third rated running back is on the board, but okay, the third-rated running back is on the board, but you have a running back on the board. But you need a tackle, but then there's the 11th-ranked offensive tackle. You reach for that tackle, you're going to get burned. You draft where the power is. Just because you have one running back, bro, that's a joke. I've seen the Ravens lose 3, 1, uno, dos, tres in a week in the NFL. And let's be honest, man, besides 2 teams, this is a running back by committee league. Let's be honest, man. It is, man. That's why, like the Falcons, they paid such high for Bijan Robinson, and Bijan Robinson is a part-time running back. Ask anyone who had him in fantasy football this past year. Tyler Algiers. So, that's like saying, would you use a top 10 pick on a part-time offensive tackle? Would you use a top 10 pick on a part-time defensive end? A part-time wide receiver? Think a part-time quarterback? Think, people, we're not reinventing the wheel. This is football, man. And some people make it out to be so much harder. And it's like ironic. Don't hate me, don't Cowboy fan. But it's ironic. Dallas doesn't even have a defensive line. Let's be honest, man. Can we speak freely? And ironically, it's a crazy defensive tackle draft. It's a crazy edge draft. Dallas doesn't even have a running back on the team. There's 30 to 35 running backs going to be drafted. I got no problem coming out of this draft with 2 to 3 running backs. Tight end, can we really walk into our tight end room and say we're comfortable? I think Ferguson has regressed. He was a little nicked up, but I think he was regressed. I'm going to be honest. If Tyler Warren slips to 12, I put that pick in. When you reach for your needs, that's when you get burnt versus best player available. I'm going to go with the Swede on that one. I think Bonnie would be hiding under the desk, bro. If you know, you know. You're going to laugh. The Swede played college football at American International. It's an old movie, man. Heartbreak Ridge. It was this big, jacked out Marine, man. He was just like 6'4", just muscles everywhere. The dude was a freak. Swede. And he actually, he was also, He went on to some other movies, but he actually played football at American International. And I'm going back probably 30 years ago. That's got to be even older, like a 40-year movie. Best beard on YouTube. Without a doubt. The draft guru, Danny Savage. Come on, we got to be honest, man. It is pretty sharp. On an off week, come on, bro. Nate Dogg, I take Warren over Gentry. I take Warren over Gentry in a heartbeat. I'm showing my age, but Warren reminds me of Jeremy Shockey in a way, and I think he's more athletic than Rob Gronkowski. And everyone says Rob Gronkowski is, first ballot Hall of Famer. That's how highly I think of Tyler Warren. And that's why I love people say, "Oh, I watch 2 games on people." Last year, the Giants took in the 3rd round Theo Johnson from Penn State, was having a great year until he got hurt. Don't sleep on the Giants, bro. Giants go out and get a quarterback in free agency. At number 3, they're going to get a difference maker. And right then and there, the Dallas Cowboys are the worst team in the division. Wah, wah, wah. Great movie. Yeah, definitely was a great movie. Heartbreak Ridge, man. Definitely was a great movie. For anybody that's bored on the weekend or whatever, man, that's an old movie to check out. Check out the Swede, bro. He was just jacked out Marine. But yeah, he was. I think he was a defensive tackle, but American International, that was the college he went to. So listen, man, the way you build a team is you don't reach. You don't reach. You go best player available. Because now, even if you have a kid you grab that you might not need, that's collateral. That's like you put him in your pocket. He ain't going anywhere. You can trade him for more than what you've done. You grab a kid and a team is calling you, they're calling you. You're going to charge them more. You're going to tax them. You're going to tax them. Rams want the Giants 3 pick if they trade Stafford. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you, man. The Rams head coaching and the Rams front office, no matter what, they're going to be all right. Whether they cut Cooper Kupp, and I drafted Cooper Kupp as a rookie out of Western Michigan in my fantasy football league. And I have the picks to show it. Drafted him like the 8th round. I knew he was going to be great then. People never even heard of him, bro. But that's another story. So like I said, man, let's not make it harder than it has to be. But Rams got to get their defense a little bit better. What quarterback do you take if you're the Giants? Listen, they don't want any part of Shedeur Sanders. They don't want no part of Prime. And, the Giants are, a blue collar, but also a white collar team. They don't want any part of him, Lil Wayne bullshit. The Giants take Cam Ward out of Miami University, out of Miami. If the Giants, want a difference maker. I just think there's a lot of old school owners and general managers. They just don't want all the hype and bullshit that comes with Shedeur Sanders. And isn't it ironic that Prime has not made one recruiting trip? Isn't that funny? Because I said it. Once his sons are done, he's done. I do not see him coming back to Colorado. I do not. And it just shows, man. How have you not made? I know the transfer portal has made building a college team a little bit differently, but he hasn't made one recruiting trip. You got, as Carlito Bagante would say, when you can't read between the lines, it's time to get out of the game. You're welcome, Steve-O. Old school, bro. Old school. Love it. Love it. yeah, the Giants definitely take Cam Ward. Or I could see the Giants going Gentry, but also too, if Abdul Carter's there, they're going to look at him like the next LT. So, telling you, the Giants just need a few offensive linemen, a running back, and a quarterback. Their skill positions are very underrated, man. Very, very, and they also have a young defense, especially inside. Everyone, it's just Daniel Jones has been horrendous, and the offensive line has been horrendous. So I don't know what their cap situation is, but they're gonna get an impact player at 3. I don't think you can go wrong with Cam Ward, to be honest with you. And the Giants have all young spurners at wide receiver, man. They just Daniel Jones just couldn't get them the ball. And also the Giants have their tight end, Theo Johnson from Penn State, coming back off an injury. So yo, I'm telling you, bro, the Cowboys are gonna be the worst. Great minds think alike. True, true, true. Yo, the Cowboys are gonna be the worst team in the NFC East this year because they won't draft this way. Nah. They, Dallas is a brand. Winning means nothing. 30 years, whatever. That's why I don't talk about. I'm a fan, but I try my best not to talk about Dallas. Also, I saw one of the top guys today, man. He put out his top 100 so far, and I just laugh at them. I don't pay attention to them, but if it pops in front of me, I'll look at them. And the fact that he does not have Kyle Monangai out of Rutgers, played for Don Bosco in New Jersey, who led the Big Ten in rushing in 2023, 2024. Rutgers was decimated with injuries, and he still had 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns. The fact that Kyle Monangai, I don't know how Vach made the Cowboys draft show. It's yo, man, politics, man, politics. That was what's from a movie too, man. That's from Platoon, man. Like, why are we getting sent out on this night walk? One guy goes, and the other kid goes, politics, man, politics. That's what it is, man. It's no big deal. Dak Browning, I'm going to go Browning Nagel over Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott. Yo, when Dak Prescott comes out and his eyes are like that, no bueno, you know he's done. Once you see Dak throw that first interception, yo, he's done. I'm telling you, they should have put it in his contract that the night before the game, or like maybe 8 hours before his game, he has to take a Valium and like do a shot because he falls apart mentally. And I'm not laughing at him. It happens to a lot of people. It happens to fighters. It happens to all positions. People freeze out, and it happens. But when it's a big game, and I'm not making fun of Dak at all. I'm truly not. He just loses it, man. He lacks the confidence and falls apart. And the fact that he's the highest paid player in the NFL is atrocious. But the fact that Kyle Monangai, running back out of Rutgers, did not make this guy's top 100 is criminal. And he was in my top 5 in May when I put out my top 5. Wait until after the combine. You're going to see him fly. Whoever gets him draft day, he is going to get a steal. I got laughed at when I said Isaiah Pacheco was going to be a monster. And he was that's another reason why you don't need Gentry at 12. Think about it. The Chiefs went to 3 Super Bowls in a row with a round 7 running back, Isaiah Pacheco, who ran like a 4.37. And I was blowing him up before the draft. And people were like, what's Rutgers? I never heard of Rutgers. I'm like, well, you don't watch football. They're only in the Big Ten. I said it. So, like, yo, the Chiefs just went to 3 Super Bowls with a round 7 running back. The only difference between Saquon Barkley and the big kid from the Ravens is what? What's the difference? The offensive line. Does everyone think Saquon Barkley just found the fountain of youth? No. No. It's the offensive line. If you don't win up front, you can have Walter Payton and Eric Dickinson, the best back there. If there's a defensive lineman blowing up your scheme and he's in the backfield every play, where you going, man? You can't run through holes, man. Like I said, man, and I've been saying this since June. Defensive tackle, defensive end, running back, tight end, and safeties, man. That's where the value is. That's where, out of the top 50 picks, you're going to see 25 to 30 be between defensive tackles and edges. Will be 30. Will be 30 picks. Because you figure 50, I'll give you 4 tight ends, possibly 5. Yeah. 2 quarterbacks. Yo, after it is a horrendous year for quarterbacks. Listen, a lot of people got Shador late first round. He has a very narrow build, but he's never had a good line about him. But he's never had a good offensive line around him. But Cam Ward, I think, is the safer pick. Oregon State transfer who went to Miami. And I just think a lot of teams are not going to want to put up with not Shador's bullshit, just what comes with it. His father, like, they expect his dad's going to coach him still in the NFL? I think that shit passed with Dallas signing whoever they signed. 805. And no matter if we all nail this draft, we still have 4. We need so many players. It's crazy. There's zero running backs on the team. But like I said, this is what you should be looking at if you're a fan. And the other positions that you need that are a weakness in the draft, that's how you should fill your free agency. You should go out. All right, we need a right guard. Let's give a guy a 10-year, a 1-year, like $12 million contract until we can bridge it over to next year's draft. This year's draft, pretty much everyone has, and a lot of people are higher on him than I am. It's Tyler Booker from Connecticut, played his first year of high school football in New Jersey, and then he transferred to IMG, and then he's at Bama, 6'6", like 360. He's that big. He was that big as a freshman in high school. I seen him play as a freshman. He was legit that big as a freshman. Crazy. But also, Tate Rutledge, Georgia, he ain't getting any love, man. I gave you an Iowa guard that I've been watching for years and who started 40 straight games. I gave him to you. And what does Iowa produce? Linemen, tight ends. But this year they're going to have a running back, Caleb Johnson, go round 2. He's going to go probably the top 10 picks of round 2. Shit, if I was Dallas and Caleb Johnson was on board round 2, I got no problem taking Caleb Johnson. Besides that, I want to stick to trenches. A combination of defensive tackles, defensive ends. If the number 1 tackle does fall to me, and my number 1 tackle is going to be different. You got to realize everyone's board is going to be different. Also, how is Dak all of a sudden going to be able to play big in big games? He's not. And the fact that he's a year older, coming off a torn hamstring, listen, this is how the human body works. When something is broken or strained or ripped and you get it fixed, it's still messed up. Your body will still allow you to do things, but by overcompensating, that causes injuries in other places then. So now that he has he's had his ankle hanging off by a thread. He's had the knee. He's had the, now the torn hamstring. Now you're going to see him throwing the ball with more upper body and more shoulder and more arm. And let's be honest, because I say the truth even when I lie. Dak Prescott has never had that cannon. I'm sorry, he hasn't. He was a good mobile quarterback that got handed an all-pro team. Am I lying? We've done this before a million times. The talent that got handed to him, and that window came and closed. I'm sorry, it came and closed. Listen, man, 30 years. I don't. They're gonna have to hit big. Like these next two drafts, they're gonna have to. And also, like if you're gonna trade Micah, I want 2020. I want next year's picks. I don't want this year's picks because it's a below average draft. That's why also the other day I spoke about if you want to go up for somebody, you're going to pay less. So if you want to go up for somebody, this is the draft to do it because it's going to cost you less to go up. What made Dak good was he was running quarterback who didn't do a lot of turnovers. No, I agree with you. Listen, man, when he was mobile before he snapped his ankle. And once he snapped his ankle, he was just afraid to use his legs. He was afraid to run. Now that made him just a pocket passer. No, no, that's not. He's not. We've seen it happen to an extent, but not as bad when like I said, I'm showing my age with Randall Cunningham. Once Randall Cunningham had an arm, he had a cannon, and he could take off and fly. Once he blew his knee out, he was never the same. But he still had that cannon. I want to know how many in the chat, how many people remember when Randall Cunningham was the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys? If you do, drop it in the chat. For 1 year, I believe, he was on the Dallas Cowboys at the end of his career. He had a cannon, man. He did. One time, I forgot what game it was. I think it was Buffalo. And you can find it on YouTube. It was Philadelphia versus Buffalo. He almost gets sacked at like the 2-3 yard line. Gets out of it somehow and like launches the ball like 70 yards downfield. He had a crazy strong arm. Yeah. When he was old, 1 year he was with the Cowboys. You're gonna laugh. Besides him, I'm gonna give you this other guy, and I'm sure probably nobody's heard of him, but he was a first-round draft pick out of West Virginia. His name was Major Harris. Quarterback, bro. This kid had a cannon. Legit, from his knees, he could throw the ball 70 yards. It just, for whatever reason, I'm going back 35 years, 40 years. I'm talking about like people talk cannons. Jeff George is named in there. I'm trying to say they had a cannon. He really wasn't the most. I guess he had an attitude problem. Who knows? He went through a lot of teams. But had that crazy, crazy deep ball, It just, for one reason or another, it didn't transfer to the NFL. Listen, I tell people all the time, look at Will Greer's college tape. A friend of the family was the tight end at West Virginia when Will Greer was there. And they called Will Greer Touchdown Jesus. Originally started at Florida, then transferred to West Virginia. But he's a little bit older. But that was when you had to sit back a year. You had to sit out a year when you transferred. Now you just jump in the portal and you can go to 17 different schools and not sit out once. And also the NCAA is looking at giving everyone 5 years across the board. I guess it's all about money. They see, Listen, well, if I was a kid coming out of college right now, JUCO doesn't matter. I'd go to a JUCO school, work on whatever I got to work on. I know they're not drug tested in junior college. I can tell you that. listen, I'm not telling you to cheat, but if you don't cheat, you're not trying, man. I would go to JUCO, do what I got to do, and then, crazy ass, man. I was reading a thing the other night in Florida because I'll put Jersey football up against any state just for the size, the small size of it, the monsters that have come out of it. In the state of Florida, you can play high school football until you're almost 20 years old. 19 years, 9 months, you're allowed. Like, are you kidding me? Like Calvin Ridley went to high school for like 5 years. A lot of people don't know Eddie George went to high school for 5 years. I definitely go to JUCO, then go get paid. Absolutely. I would go to JUCO for 2 years. And the crazy part why that's a great thing, Vern, is there's a kid. I'm not as high on him as everyone else is. Arroyo, a tight end out of Miami. Bro, he spent like 7. He legit was hurt though. He'd be breaking bones left and right. I don't know if he has a calcium deficiency or what. I don't know. But a lot of people calling. He had a good Senior Bowl, but he's like 25, 26. If you're cool with one contract out of somebody, right? I don't want no 25-year-old rookie. Perfect example is Shiloh Sanders, Dion's other son, the safety. He's a 25-year-old rookie. And I'll bet money Jerry Jones drafts him on day 3 just so he can throw his dad's 21 on him and sell 1 million jerseys. But whatever, man. It is what it is, man. Listen, I thank everybody. Nate Dogg, Steve, Bobby. I don't want to call me other name. Everybody jumped in the chat tonight, bro. I appreciate it because everyone knows. Tomorrow I got another sleeper coming out, a center who, ironic. I'm dropping a sleeper center tomorrow. Yet I've been watching him since 2021. Just going to give you a little hint. It was Notre Dame playing Ohio State, but he transferred to another team. That's what I'm going to say about him. I'm going to drop him tomorrow. But I've been watching him since he was from 2021. That's how I love it when guys say, well, I watched 2 games on a person, and I gave him a grade. Snake oil salesman. We all know when you're rocking with the gWo, it's for life. Also, sub and subscribe to the Frisco Report. They usually come out Wednesday nights or Thursday nights with their show. We got Cowboys Corner. He comes out on Saturday nights. Everyone's invited. Don't be a douche. Can you drop quarterback and safety videos soon? Absolutely. Who do you want first, cornerback or safeties? I pretty much dropped everybody already, but I'll give you the names. I'll give you. I mean, there's a monster from South Carolina. Some people have him. It's a very, very hard name to pronounce, like Equinama. This kid is 6'3", 230. That's a linebacker. He's getting moved. He's getting moved to safety. You have Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame. Bro, not the biggest, 6 foot, like 200, super talented. Penn State, Winston. They got a kid, Winston. They got a kid, Reed. Both of Penn State's safeties are legit monsters. Iowa has 2 safeties, Sebastian Castro and a kid, Nwanka. It is a crazy, crazy safety draft. It's much the safety. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. In the first 2 rounds, I see 2 corners getting drafted. The kid Joseph you got the kid from Joseph out of Michigan, and then there's another kid out of the Irish. I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses. What I hate the most is corners and quarterbacks, but it's in the top 50. Listen, I'm not even going to make a top 50 or a top 100 because that's just a joke to me. But in my head, in my top 50, I only have 2 corners. It's a very below average corner class. That's another thing. Yo, Dallas has collateral. If a team wants Diggs and wants to offer me something for him, I'll take it. Can't pay Diggs and Deron Bland. There's not a single team in the NFL with $200 million corners. So Dallas is going to have to take a long, hard decision. Maybe you want to offer 12 and Diggs, try to move up for somebody. Think outside the box, people. Or if you know you're not going to keep Bland, you're talking about Benjamin Moore, yeah. Yo, I also love Rod Moore out of Michigan, their safety. He's not getting love. There's so many kids out there. DeRon Bland is a better player. I agree with you. I agree with you. I would keep Bland over Diggs. And I also think you can probably get Bland on a team-friendly deal. I think now you can probably sign Bland for what you signed Diggs for, to be honest with you. I don't think he's that type of player that's going to just say, oh, I'm sitting out unless I get, he doesn't have an older brother, talking to him in his ear saying, oh, if you don't get 110, 115, you don't sign. Let's be honest, man. I mean, I know I didn't grow up with the gold schooner in my mouth, but is there really a big difference between 100 million and 110 million? As my father, God rest his soul, would say, yo, give me the 100 million. Where do I sign? Where do I sign? Because you always have to be thankful for what you got. Because in the blink of an eye, it can all be gone. But it's crazy, man. Crazy, man. It's real. Yeah, I agree with you. Especially Dallas is Texas. There's no state tax. Yo, getting 100 million in Texas is like getting legit tax wise is the equivalent to like 115, 120 in New York or New Jersey for taxes. Don't they have people telling them that? Even NIL. If I was NIL, I'm going to a college where there's no state tax. It's like 13 states, no state tax. But that's a whole nother conversation which we've spoken about. And there's also like court cases coming up too with the NCAA. So we'll know more about the 5 years of eligibility and all stuff like that soon. I would think sooner than later. But I guess they want to get through the combine and just the draft behind them, and then they'll start, or the court's dockets. Are the court's busy? Are they not? Cowboys corner in the house. What's up? What's up? You're right, 100 million. Yeah, I agree with you. It is, man. But it's like, I guess Diggs had his brother in his ear saying, sit, get out, sit back for the most money you possibly get. If there's somebody Dallas really, really wants, I got no problem giving 12 and Diggs to move up and get him. I truly don't. I don't. Can anybody, if you have a great pass rush, you would have the most average cornerbacks back there, and they look like Deion Sanders. Yet you could put Deion Sanders and Rod Woodson back there, Charles Woodson, who played for Pittsburgh and played everywhere, Raiders, Charles Woodson, Green Bay Packers. But if you have no pass rush, you can have Charles Woodson and Deion Sanders back there. You can't cover somebody forever. Think about it, man. When the Giants beat the Patriots twice, it was just a matchup. I'm sorry. You can't tell me the Giants were a better team than New England. You can't. You can't. You can't. You can go position by position. It just was a matchup thing where, let's be honest, New England didn't have a running game. The Giants legit had 4 DNs all across the D-line, and all they did was tee off on Tom Brady for both games, and that's how they won. You can't tell me they had better talent on that team. They didn't. It's just also sometimes some teams have your number. It's like I know New England beat them in regular season, but that too also it's hard to beat somebody 2 times, let alone 3. I mean, division wise. I like Tex McMillan, but a player who would come and play as well as Mike Green. Listen, I've said this. Don't be shocked. I could see Dallas drafting Mike Green. I would prefer them trading back 5, 6 slots. But honestly, Dallas can probably trade back 5, 6 slots and still get a monster defensive end. The edge classes, the edge and defensive the edge defense, the edge, D tackle, running back, tight end, and safety is ridiculous, ridiculous. So Dallas can move back because we have no fourth. You always see Jerry Jones want to make, but also maybe Jerry Jones might want to make a statement and move up. So, and it's not going to cost you a lot to move up because it's a below average draft. So if you're going to keep Bland, I'll give somebody my 12 and Diggs to move up. It all depends for who. When I did this video, if Dallas did trade up, I would think the only 3 people they're trading up for would be the both quarterbacks, Sanders and Cam Ward or Abdul Carter. I can't see trading up for anybody else, plus giving up one of your corners. Listen, bro, over and out. Sorry I made it this long. I'm usually much shorter videos because we all know, like I said, Cowboys Corner, you got to subscribe to him. The Frisco Report come on Wednesday to Thursday nights. We got 5th Quarter Cowboys. He comes on usually Monday nights, Friday nights. We got Cowboys Champs. We did a video the other day. Cool. Sub and subscribe to all these channels. Got Cowboys Fiend. He's a big Trey Lance fan, but I wouldn't pay Trey Lance 75 cents. We got 1980s Cowboys. He's always dropping stuff. He knows his shit. And we got Ishan, Hollywood's newest up-and-coming producer at Paladonian Films Production. Because we all know when you rock with the gWo, it's for life. I thank everybody that jumped in the chat. I truly do. Thank you, man.